My boyfriend and his first love were arrested for hooking up in a public park. When I arrived at the police station to bail them out, he was holding her tightly, shielding her as if she were the victim. Their necks were marked with fresh hickeys. Sarah lost her job. I just took her out to cheer her up. I wanted to scream, but the words died in my throat. It wasn't worth it anymore. I refused to be the nagging, controlling bitch he always accused me of being. I lowered my head, signed the papers, and paid the fine. What's your relationship? The officer asked. I glanced at Steve Ross, still clinging to Sarah Quinn, and sneered. Roommates. Then I texted my father. Dad, I agree to the arranged marriage. I'll be home on Christmas Eve. Rain poured as we left the station. I hailed a cab and opened the door. Steve shoved me aside and pulled Sarah in first. I'm taking Sarah home. She's shaken. Get another cab. Shaken. Sarah sat inside with a smug smile. This is my cab, I said coldly. Find your own. Steve's face darkened. Why are you always so aggressive, Leah? Can't you be considerate? His lie was absurd, full of holes, yet he delivered it with perfect confidence because he knew I loved him. Before I could respond, he grabbed my umbrella and shut the door. Rain drenched me instantly. This is your fault for being late. Do you know how embarrassing that was? He added. Go home first. I'm staying with Sarah. Sarah leaned toward the window, smiling brightly. Sorry, Leah. He's just worried about me. Don't bother talking to her, Steve said softly to her. The car drove off, leaving me alone in the rain. 4 hours later, I finally got home, soaked and feverish. My father's message arrived with a photo. This is Caleb Vance. What do you think? I barely looked. Perfect, I replied. 6 years ago, I ran away from home to escape an arranged marriage and came to Viridia alone. Broke, desperate. That's when I met Steve. We comforted each other. I thought it was love. For 6 years, I gave him everything, helping him rise from a junior employee to a top executive. I wrote his proposals, built his success. Every time I mentioned marriage, he told me to wait. And this was my answer. I was done waiting. I took 2 cold pills and began clearing the apartment. Under the table, I found a booklet, flight stubs from Viridia to the UK. The last one was dated 3 days before Sarah returned. So he had time. All those missed anniversaries, he wasn't busy. He was with her. The truth settled in, sharp and undeniable. That night, he came home late. The smell of sex and perfume clung to him. I have a fever, I said, grabbing his hand. He paused, then pulled away. What a buzzkill. He turned his back, taking the blanket. His phone screen glowed in the dark, punctuated by quiet laughter. 3 more days, I told myself. Just 3 more days. The next morning, he made breakfast. For 6 years, he had never cooked for me, not even when I begged through stomach pain. I tasted the porridge. It looked identical to the one Sarah had posted online. We should take engagement photos tomorrow, he said casually. I didn't respond. When I reached for more, he slapped my hand. 1 bowl is enough. I made this for Sarah. She caught a cold last night. Then, almost as an afterthought, fine, you can have half. I'm full. So it was never for me. After he left, I continued packing, discarding everything that belonged to me, mostly things I'd bought for us. That evening, he glanced around. Something missing? Just cleaned out junk. He didn't care. As I headed to the bedroom, he said, don't come to my parents this Christmas. Just buy gifts. I'll take them. Okay, he hesitated. We'll get married after New Year. When are you leaving? Christmas Eve. Perfect. So was I. A notification popped up. Sarah had posted a photo. Her and Steve in wedding attire, smiling like a perfect couple. Caption, he can't stand to see me lose. Anytime I want, I can crash his wedding. The comments were full of congratulations. I knew Steve never loved Leah. I wasn't surprised. They had been each other's first love. She left him for someone richer, went abroad, and he swore he'd never forgive her. I believed him. I forgot. Hate only exists where love once did. Steve walked in, saw my phone. It was just for fun. She wanted to try wedding photos. It's fine, I said. Just a joke. He studied me. You're not jealous? You were each other's first love. What's there to be jealous about? He had no answer. Later, his hushed voice drifted through the door. I'll have Leah buy the gifts. You just come with me. Of course, you should spend the holidays with family. Sarah, you're more important to me than her. My chest stayed calm. No anger, no pain, just clarity. Christmas Eve. Sarah arrived with a suitcase and walked in like she owned the place. I'm picking up Steve. You don't mind, do you, Leah? She eyed the gifts. You're so thoughtful. It's my first time visiting his parents. Steve rushed out, flustered. It's just convenient. We live close. Okay, I said. She smirked. I might have to share a bed with him. Sarah? He snapped. I smiled. You're close. I don't mind. They both froze. I handed Steve his suitcase. I packed everything. I'll come back soon, he said. I didn't respond. My flight was at 2 p.m. When I stepped out again, Sarah kissed his cheek. I felt nothing. Wait for me, he said before leaving. You will, right? I smiled faintly. Where else would I go? Relieved, he took her hand and left. The door closed. Silence. I picked up a sticky note and wrote, let's break up. I'm setting you free. I placed my ring on top. 30 minutes later, I left with my suitcase. I didn't look back. Goodbye, Steve.